today we're going to talk about the helmet of salvation. And I think we're all familiar with what a helmet is. Hopefully, you've probably had to wear one, like when you were riding a bike. And we're going to start with a little game. So I'm going to put up a picture of a kind of helmet, and then you can shout out what it is or who would wear it. So here's the first one. Construction or hard hat. Okay, next one. Bicycle helmet. It's a baseball helmet. This one might be a little tricky. Wrestling. All right, this is another tricky one. Hockey helmet. Football. Firefighter. It's a motorcycle helmet. And the Roman soldier. So Pastor Matt's going to share a little bit later about the helmet of salvation and what that means. And first we're going to check in with Sir Wayne and his armor bearer.
Greetings, armor bearer. I'm back.
Hello, Sir Wayne. How was the battle against those circus clowns?
We defended the castle named Heavens, chased them off with only minimal damage to rugs and curtains thanks to those clowns and their cream pies. During the escape, I took a prisoner, but he didn't talk because turns out he was a mime. But I eventually let him go.
That was nice of you.
You know what they say, a mime is a terrible thing to waste.
I think you mean mimed, Sir Wayne.
No, that doesn't sound right. Mime is a terrible thing to mind?
No, a mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Oh yes, that sounds better.
Lucky for you, I have the perfect thing to protect your mind. A helmet.
Whoa, that's spiffy.
I thought you'd like it.
Armor bearer, you've really outdone yourself. This is a nice piece of armor.
It has to be. It protects your head and everything in it. You need the best protection you can get.
Will it really protect my mind?
The only thing that can protect your mind more than that is salvation.
Salvation? What's that?
It's the gift God gives you when He forgives you of your sins. You become God's child, and you become untouchable. Spiritually speaking, of course.
Wow, that's some powerful stuff.
My helmet will protect you from the weapons of man, like swords, arrows, and clubs.
That thing you swing around with the bald spikes on the end?
Yes, that too. But if you want spiritual protection, you're going to need to put on the helmet of salvation.
That sounds fine. I'll take one.
You're going to need to go to church for that one. But come back next week and I'll have more for you.
I always get more than I ordered here. Thanks, armor bearer.
Always a pleasure, Sir Wayne.
Hey kids, it's Pastor Matt here. I hope you're enjoying this Armor of God series. We've been in it for a number of weeks now, and I wanted to kind of remind you what we've learned so far. Katie made this really cool dice, so we're going to remind ourselves of the different pieces that we've learned about. We started with the belt of truth, and we learned all about the importance of truth, and then we moved on to the breastplate of righteousness. We learned about righteousness, and then we talked about the shoes of readiness that comes with the gospel of peace, and then we moved on to the shield of faith. So we learned all about faith, and today we come to the helmet of salvation. So in this passage in Ephesians 6, Paul writes that we should take on the helmet of salvation. And so we're going to talk about the importance of helmets today. Now, helmets are important because they protect your head. Probably a lot of you like to ride bikes and go on scooters and all sorts of stuff like that. And if you have your helmet on during those things, then you are protected from getting serious injury if you fall on your head, which, probably most of you have done a time or two. So helmets can really come in handy. Also, if you play sports, like you wouldn't want to get hit in the head with a fastball, or you wouldn't want to get tackled in a football game and have no helmet on. And so helmets can protect our head. Now, of course, Paul wasn't talking about physically getting hurt. He was talking about spiritual armor. So we're not so much talking about an actual helmet that you put on when you're a Christian, but we are talking about protecting your mind. Now, what do we have to protect our mind from? Well, we protect our mind from bad thoughts that the devil or Satan sends our way. And so Satan might send a thought your way that says something like, nobody cares about you, you're worthless, nobody likes you. Or he might send a thought like you're not good at anything, you're a loser. Like Satan likes to send thoughts like that. Or even something like God doesn't love you. Satan could send you a thought like that. And the helmet of salvation, when we put it on, the helmet of salvation protects us from believing those things because it reminds us of what's even more true. Notice it's called the helmet of salvation. And so the helmet is all about our mind remembering that we are going to be saved by God. If you've given your life to Jesus, then you, in one sense, have been saved, like you're part of his family now, and God's still changing you and helping you to become more like Jesus, and so you're being saved. But there's also a future salvation that's coming, that one day you're going to be in eternity with God forever. And that's something that Satan cannot take away from you. You have this helmet of salvation that always protects you from the devil's deception. Now, it's true that we might still sometimes get hurt by those thoughts that come into our mind, and we might get hurt physically too. So there are still some bad things that happen to us on this earth. But if we have the helmet of salvation, we know that no matter how many bad things we go through, in the end, God wins and we're going to win because we're safe with God. So I do want to remind you about the helmet of salvation. There's one other place in the New Testament where Paul talks about it. It's in Thessalonians, and he says that it's the hope of the helmet of salvation. And that's kind of what I was just talking about. If we have this helmet, then we always have hope. We never have to give up because we already know that this war is going to be won by God, not Satan. And so he says, take the helmet of salvation. Know that you are saved, that you're being saved, that you will be saved. That will protect you from all the devil's lies and attacks against you, so that you can be sure that your salvation is coming in your future. I hope that helps you understand the helmet of salvation, and hope you have a great day.